If we know one thing.
Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching Shining Vale, episodes 4 through 8.
5 through 8.
5 through 8. Yeah, as always, this is a spoiler show. I was trying to decide what I wanted to say first.
Well, we quit after 4.
Well, we didn't quit. Basically, because of the way our schedule is, we had a lot of stuff that we had to do on Sundays. And we found the style and tone of the show to be very jarring.
It doesn't suit weekly, in my opinion.
It really didn't, because by the time it took us a good 25 minutes to acclimate to its sense of humor, at least me.
No, me too.
And then by the time I was there, it was over, and we had to move on to a radically either Outlander or Riverdale or, God forbid, Euphoria. We just sort of on a whim were like, let's go ahead and wait and like binge it. And we weren't sure whether we were going to do the rest of it episodically or just one swoop. We ended up doing one swoop. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I have a lot of things, a lot of like, I'm very yes and no but.
Yeah.
But if I had to put a stamp on it, I liked it.
I liked it. I am confused about some choices.
So it actually reminds me of one of the better seasons of American Horror Story.
Which one?
In like a better.
Oh, okay.
Like it
just
feels like
generally.
there's a handful of seasons of American Horror. We've never loved an entire season of American Horror Story. There's always like,
they always biff the ending.
Or there's just like, because even the Apocalypse, we love the ending of Apocalypse, but we didn't understand the purpose of the first three episodes. So it feels like one of the better seasons of American Horror Story.
Sure.
And the half-hour runtime and the 8-episode order really aided that.
I still just think it would have been better to binge all at once.
Oh, of course.
Like,
Why?
it's not, like, I'm not always that person, because I like watching certain things weekly because you get a chance to like think about it in between. But it was like when we were watching the
Well,
first...
to mention Euphoria again, that, I mean, you would get an aneurysm.
Oh my God. When we were watching this weekly, I was sort of like not thinking about it at all in between episodes and then having to like really ramp myself back into it. And that's sort of like, even watching these last 4 all together, I'm still just I don't completely understand a lot of the choices that they made.
So twofold. And there's a good chance that my first point is aided by the fact that we took a 2-3 week break in the middle. But I think the second half was a lot stronger than the first half.
I agree with that as well.
The first half felt very meandering.
Yeah.
And right where we sort of were like, let's take a break, I feel like is where the story actually started happening. Because we literally said, we were like, bold move to wait till episode 5 to start to humanize Gaynor.
To start to humanize Gaynor, to actually like get Mira Sorvino's Rosemary like actually in the mix. I mean, I don't know. There's like so many things that I'm like, why do you wait till you're over halfway done to actually get to something? We don't find out until the finale. Spoiler alert. I mean, you guess sort of the whole time, but you don't get like actual proof that Rosemary killed her family until the finale. And that's sort of,
and even that, it's a little anticlimactic at that point.
By that point, you're like, yeah, no shit, she's fucking crazy.
So my other thing is, back to the American Horror Story comparison, I'm sort of like, I cannot believe you had these pieces and this is what you made.
Yeah.
It's fine, but I feel like there is a much more dynamic end result using these ingredients.
I agree.
Like all of them.
Yeah.
And because even the probably my favorite episode was the housewarming party. And even that, I was sort of waiting for everyone to become seduced by the house.
Yeah.
And there were hints to that.
Yeah.
But I sort of wanted them to go into a Beetlejuice like Deo place.
Yeah, because Catherine came and brought her hot husband Blake.
Andy Ridings, babe of the show. We
like him.
He is exceptionally hot.
Yeah.
Everything we watched, they managed to get his shirt off. On a technicality, they get his shirt off in this one, but I was a little bit bummed. But there's so many, like even Judith Light. It's like she was good in this. Like she was. But there was nothing about that I was like, only Judith Light could have done this.
Sure.
Like you could Bernadette Peters, you could drop in like literally any other like
Katie Seagal.
Yeah, like there was just something that didn't quite. Although I did really like, because I did enjoy it. I think I probably liked it the most. I found the sense of humor, the fucking title cards. I don't know what it was about it.
Well, it's the sting. Yeah, I really liked it, and I think the humor is what worked the best, because that I think is another thing. Is, in my opinion, it was trying to do too many things.
So then maybe it did need to be an hour.
Maybe it either needed to be an hour or it needed to be like 10 or 12 episodes.
I think 8 hours might have been better, because the 30, like I understood that Gaynor liked Ryan.
Yeah.
But there was just like, Ryan wasn't really a character until the last 2 episodes, kind of.
Yeah, and even still,
and I just kept waiting for him to be gay.
Well, the other thing too is like, it's such a big deal up front for the first 4 episodes that he's in this like chastity club and he won't have sex before marriage, and then they just do it.
I mean,
I get it, but it's like there's no bones about it, and it's like, and then it's just done, and then she tries to ghost him, and then she breaks up with him, and then she's like, "Why are you breaking up with me?" And he's like, "You already broke up with me." It's just a lot of like, what are we?
I also think the comedy to drama balance was inconsistent. I think there were entire swaths of the show where it worked. Again, the housewarming party, when. So that, like I said, it's probably my favorite episode, probably my favorite bit in the whole
episode 7.
Yeah, it's when Catherine and Blake are there, and Pat enters, and she's obscured by the banner, and she's speaking like Mira Sorvino.
Yeah,
and the scene
aren't you going to introduce me?
And the scene just lingers to the point where they all have to go.
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff. I needed a little bit more comedy like that, because it weirdly has teeth. Like, at a certain point, the show actually has bite where they kill Ryan's mother.
Yeah.
That was sort of
so that's the
mean.
Thing. That's where I keep thinking that I think it was trying to do too much, because it was trying to be a half hour, like a sort of a half hour comedy. It was trying to be a horror story. It was trying to be like a meditation on marriage and femininity and like being a working mother. And
I really loved the gender swap dynamic.
The medical industrial complex and like all this stuff. And so, and then like generational trauma and things like that. And I just don't think it landed all of them.
I'm a little bit at war, because like I said, I know I enjoyed it the most. And so I'm trying to really root for it. Like, I'm trying to really give it a like, because it was a swing. I mean, it was something, and the Shining parallels were not lost on me. Although your husband Will pointed out that they were pretty heavy-handed. Yeah, because I saw The Shining once, and it didn't have much of an effect on me. So I was sort of like, meh. And he was like, he was like entire lines of dialogue.
Yeah,
and so there's a part of me where I'm sort of like, that's like, why?
Yeah,
and it's not a problem. It was like that show Wrecked. That was like a parody of Lost.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, it's funny and it's interesting, but why now? Like, why are we doing this way now?
The thing about that show is that, in my opinion, the show Wrecked was leagues more successful, because it was only trying to be a parody of Lost. It wasn't trying to do like 7 other things. And it was a straightforward network sitcom. I don't know. I did like this. If it does not get a season 2, I don't think I'll be disappointed.
Well, to bring up American Horror Story a third time, I'm like, what would a season 2 be? Are we doing a different? Because there was a part of me that kind of believed that she had actually killed her family, and that they were ghosts in the house, which again, right out of Murder House.
Yeah.
But I guess I wish more of the morals and or themes were clearer, because so much of it is about Pat and Terry's marriage. And I actually really enjoyed that showdown they were having.
Yeah.
Where she was like, stop being such a good husband.
Yeah.
That was very interesting.
That's always fun, where she just is like, you're so understanding and it's exhausting.
Do you know what it's like to always be forgiven?
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. And I think this was like something that Courtney Cox could really get her teeth into in a fun way.
But it was weird to go from that to what happened to Terry. We actually don't know. He fell down the stairs, and then it became about Pat and Gaynor, which it's like their through line was in the show, But that was a weird end. Like, that was a weird sort of like, and it was almost like they wanted to be like, we tricked you. You thought it was one thing, but it was the other that we told you from the beginning.
Yeah. But
like very Last Jedi, this is not going to go the way you think. And
no, because they didn't tell us enough. It just was like they have a harsh relationship because they're too much alike, her and Gaynor. But it's like, then there was not enough follow through for them to be able to land it was really about the mother-daughter thing all along. And I'm like, I don't buy it.
And also the ending is like a proper tragedy.
Yeah.
Because Gaynor's upset.
Oh, yeah.
And she's presumably running away to LA with her Christian boyfriend that's not gonna last.
And maybe a baby.
So it's like,
I don't know. It's just, that's the thing is like, I liked almost
like Judith Light needed to be in that scene if we were going
to. If we're going to go full generational mother-daughter trauma, that's what needs to happen. But like, that's why I keep saying I don't think it worked all in conjunction with each other, because by the time we got there with Gaynor and Pat, I was sort of like, you have laid groundwork for them having a contentious mother-daughter relationship, but like in my opinion, we saw them get
they had breakthroughs and setbacks and stuff.
But in my opinion, that was leading to a future relationship where like once Gaynor's 23, everything's fine. And like this is the type of thing that is just going to beget a relationship like Pat has with Judith Light, which wasn't, in my opinion, what they were building the foundation for. So I don't know. It's all very, I don't know.
I mean, I think it was a decent, as far as like gothic horror goes. I think it was a decent ending with the like being committed and finding out. There was also this through line that I'm even more confused by now that I realize it. But there's this through line that Rosemary is a demon, and I don't see how that's possible.
Okay, so I think Rosemary is stuck there. I think Rosemary is a ghost, and then I think Rosemary's ghost has a demon.
Oh, because they needed more.
Yeah, when they were showing her at the end and Pat was taking all of the pills, Rosemary's arm, it popped out, said, "Help me." And she was like, "Rosemary, what you like, I know that there's a mother inside you that like blah, blah, blah." And every time her eyes turned black, I think that was the demon being like, "Hey."
Because Zeth.
Yeah.
He was fun.
He was fun.
I did like because Pat even makes the joke, but she's like, "I like how normal this is to you."
Yeah.
But he was very adamant that, I don't know, I get a little bit nitpicky with the rules of fantasy and stuff, and it's like because he was right when he was like, if you're, people like to talk about exorcisms like that's the thing, and I'm like, it's a religious procedure. He was correct. You have to go to the Vatican. Yeah. You have to get approved. It's a whole thing. And so when people throw down demons in horror, fantasy, whatever, I'm like, so is it a demon or is it a demon? Like,
well, that's the other thing too, is it like took too long for,
because in which case we needed to know its name.
Yeah, it took too long for us to get past ghost to demon. Like we were in episode at least 5 before somebody was like, "Oh, you have a demon." And even still, Pat was like, no, it's just a ghost. And I was like, well, those are 2 separate establishments.
Maybe they do plan on having, or maybe there was a plan to have more, because the plots are
plots are open,
answered, because we don't know what happened with Cam and her book.
Yeah,
what's her face is still in a coma. Yeah. Like, they're interesting. I don't know. It's like we're coming down. I did start this off by saying yes and no, but
yeah,
I want to applaud swings and anything that really sort of like attempts to do something. And I do think that we say this frequently, but it's true. I think that much of what worked was largely the actors.
Oh, yeah.
I think this was a fantastic performance from Mira Sorvino.
And Courtney Cox.
Yeah. I think Jake was the son. Mm-hmm. He was odd. Nothing really came of
him and Daisy, where he like comes in and he tells Pat, he's like, "Daisy said that her mom killed her."
Because even the scene with him and Gaynor in the car where you think they're going to have... it's the finale. It's the haunting of Hill House. We got to go save your mother. Yeah. And it's a fart joke, which it was a good fart joke, but it was sort of like,
like a good little brother fart joke, but like
this is meant to be an emotional crux.
Yeah.
Like, and I just sort of, there was a video of Gus and the actress.
Shockingly, the dog survives the season.
There was a video of Gus, the actress, and the actor, who's Jake, behind the scenes, and they had created this weird little like handshake that they were doing, and part of me just kept waiting for them to do it in the show, and it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were on just like separate paths.
Jake was in his whole own
show, like
thing, which did not also like finish. And he like found a skull, and we thought it was Daisy, but it was like Dan the Milkman or something. I don't know. It just like it's a lot of weird things that don't fully hang together for me.
Because the other thing is, it's like the reveal at the end is meant to be that the house was like a ward for like hysterical women.
Yeah.
That Rosemary was presumably a head nurse at. And so part of me was like,
but in 1859.
It said 1859. Yeah. So I was like, so then who's Rosemary? Is that Rosemary? Who's the 1950s housewife?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird. I feel weird.
That's where it's sort of like The Shining, because at the end of The Shining, it goes into the photo
of Jack
Nicholson.
That.
I agree.
I was like, I think The Shining's just okay, but I was like, it earns that ominous tone. What happened to Terry? Because he was being seduced by the house at times.
She hit him with the axe. He fell down the stairs, and he was like alive, but then he sort of passed out again.
And then, I mean, they're not the point, but it's like Catherine and Blake. It's like they, I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah,
we didn't have a lot of viewers. Miss Brown was bummed when we stopped watching it because she liked watching us talk about it, and it just was, like I said, the timing just wasn't working for us. So I'm curious what a casual viewer just watching this thought. I don't know any, like I haven't heard a ton about it, so it's like, and I mean, Starz, God knows what their numbers are like. So I mean, I would probably, depending on how they did more, if they did more, I would probably watch it.
I would tune back in.
I would binge it.
Yeah, but I would wait until it was over and watch it all at once, because that was, I think, the biggest crime of the show, is that it went to Starz instead of like Amazon or Hulu or Netflix or something.
Well, Starz has been known to
Starz makes good shows.
But I mean that show, which only lasted one season, but that Greg Araki Now Apocalypse.
Oh yeah,
they played it weekly, but they put the entire first season on the app.
Oh, okay.
Because I watched it weekly just because I liked watching it after American Gods.
Yeah.
But like half of the people that watched that show watched it the day it premiered.
Interesting.
And so part of me was like, I mean, for shows like this where it's like you're not trying to get the sexy Game of Thrones Sunday night numbers.
Yeah. Just drop it.
Just do that. And people will either watch it on their TV or watch it on their computer.
I think weirdly they were trying to get the like, I mean, these are like, it's a weird thing to sort of assume you're going to get numbers from it. It's a weird trio of like famous people, but I think they were like, well, it's Courtney Cox and Greg Kinnear and Mira Sorvino. People are going to tune in every week. And I'm sort of like, I don't think they are.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I think it was more of a let's do something weird with, because it couldn't have been all that expensive. There were special effects in it, but like everything was a soundstage.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just on the same set every time.
Yeah.
I really liked when Pat was fully possessed.
Yeah.
And I loved her coming in and out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, it peaked weirdly there.
Yeah.
So like I said, let us know what you thought about it. And yeah, I guess that's that. Is there?
Yeah. No, I don't have much more to say. I liked it enough, but it's real choppy. It's real weird. I think it doesn't fully nail everything it's trying to do. So.
It's the word I use for these types is amusing.
Sure.
Because I feel like that word's a little, like I was amused.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was probably laughing the most, but I don't know that it's going to stick with me. Yeah. And what about it that will stick with me is the inconsistency as being like, remember that weird show?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, please like and subscribe. If you want to help out the show, you can donate, you can patron, you can do all that. Thumbs up, share, the works, and hopefully we'll see you back later for other shows or even possibly more of this later. Who knows?
Bye.